everybody to the second day of Halal International Conference online. This is the fourth consecutive year that iHalal conference had been done. Okay, and so on this auspicious day of Shaban, we will be having uh, three speakers today who are actually prominent ladies from the halal industry. Okay, so is everybody ready for this conference to be on? All right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Prof. Dr. Maryam Abdullatif, a well-known household name in halal, not only in Malaysia but also as a pioneer, because on behalf of Malaysia, Prof. Maryam Latif had actually started the Codex Alimentarius CACGL 1997 event to make halal recognized among the World Health Organization. Is that so, Prof. Maryam? Okay, so that is actually a very good historical beginning, not only for Malaysia but for the whole world. So, Prof. Dr. Maryam Latif is currently a senior fellow at University Malaysia Sabah, Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, Malaysia. And she has had 15 years of farming and agricultural experience with Department of Agriculture Malaysia, teaching food processing, agronomy, extension and landscape at the Institute of Agriculture at Air Hitam and Serdang, and also was a very experienced Ministry of Health Malaysia senior officer responsible for food safety and quality program in Negeri Sembilan, Pahang, Selangor, and Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. So she established the Office for Codex Contact Point Malaysia under Ministry of Health in 1996, and also was the country liaison officer, the chief secretariat for the National Codex Committee and Codex Regional Representative for Asia from 1996 until 1998, and involved in development for the draft of general guidelines for use of the term halal to defend the draft paper before it was adopted in 1997 in Geneva. And after that, she became consultant to Codex Secretariat at the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO for United Nations in Rome, Italy from January July 2001 and February 2005. And Maryam Latif was seconded as chief scientist at JAKIM for 3 years. And you established the technical audit and Malaysian halal certification system. She published the handbook of halal ingredients, translated the halal manual procedure, drafted the national halal laboratory concept paper, and seconded to the Halal Industry Development Corporation under the Prime Minister's Office Malaysia for 3.5 years as Vice President of Halal Integrity. After that, she developed the halal training programs, halal standard unit, halal certification unit, halal reference unit, and halal consultancy, and initiated the first world structured halal training programs and organized the first World Halal Research Summit in 2007. She set up the Protem working group for the world first halal pharmaceutical standard and had delivered more than 100 presentations of halal food, halal standard, halal law, halal certification, halal consideration, and Actually, Madam Maryam, I'm out of breath already because of your extensive introduction. I hope I better cut short to give the audience as many opportunities to ask questions from your vast experience. So, besides all these awards of best performance in halal and so on, without further ado, let's welcome uh, Professor Maryam Latif to talk on her experience of halal. Now, Prof. Mariam, the
Thank you
online
very
platform is yours.
yes, I'm online. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Dr. Alina, for such a long introduction. And uh, I would like to thank the SMIC and OIC for inviting me to give this sharing of information about being women leaders in the International Halal Conference. And I would like to thank Brother Muhammad Noor and Amal and also Dr. Aina for helping me with the journey to travel and to present what I have today. Being an academician in nutrition, I have a very big passion to promote halal nutrition to everyone so that everybody knows what to eat and how to eat after listening to what I'm going to share next. So I will share with you my slides. Halal nutrition. Can you see my slide? You
Yes,
can
we
see my
can see
slide?
your slide. Yes.
Yes, Alhamdulillah, it's very clear.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's going to cover halal food, Islamic eating practices, and summary. As an introduction, the Islamic way of life is a system of divine principles and code of ethics to be practiced in the daily life of every person. Every deed is a form of worship and eating is one of them, and it has to be based on the Islamic laws. The growing understanding of Muslims throughout the world on their responsibility to eat only halal food creates positive environment to develop true Muslims with good behavior. Choosing halal food is very important as it is a religious obligation among all Muslims. Halal food is food which is obtained legally, nutritious in its quality, and free from any aspects that are in contrary to halal and tayyiban food. Haram is an Arabic word meaning the opposite to halal, which is not allowed or prohibited for food consumption. Shubhah means uncertain or not sure of its halalness or its haram status. As Muslims, we should avoid haram and shubhah foods except during crisis. So this is coming to Maqasid Sharia, the primary objectives of Sharia. So we are talking about food being preservation of life, yeah? So it's talking about food again. The obligation in Islam, it is actually stated in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah 168, O mankind, eat from whatever is on earth that is lawful and good, and do not follow the footsteps of Satan. Indeed, he is to you a clear enemy. And in Surah An-Nahl 114, then eat of what Allah has provided for you, which is lawful and good, and be grateful for the favor of Allah, if it is indeed Him that you worship. The Prophet Muhammad SAW led a simple life and he ate a simple food to gain necessary energy for the body to perform ibadah. So let's talk about basic principles of halal nutrition. Basic principles for a Muslim diet is food shall be halal or allowed and tayyib or healthy, safe, nutritious and with quality. That is the diet of Prophet Muhammad SAW. And number two, taken in moderation with proper eating ethics or eating practices of the Prophet Muhammad SAW or eating etiquette of the Prophet. Eat and drink, but do not be excessive, for God does not love those who are excessive in what they do. So you must do things in moderation, yeah? So the halal food concept is, the underlying principle is food has to be halal or lawful or meeting Sharia requirements and tayyib or wholesome, talking about good food, healthy food, safe food, nutritious food, or with food with quality which is actually clean. Halal food is not poisonous, it's not intoxicating, and it's non-hazardous to health. Value proposition for Toyib is good and wholesome, high in quality, safety ensured, microbiological safe, free from chemical and physical hazards, hygienic and clean, nutritious, authentic in its claims, organic in sync with its natural environment. Quantity and quality of food. Allah has pointed two important points about food consumption, which is quantity and quality. In verse 7, ayat 31 of the Quran, is stated that in terms of quantity, eat and drink, but not to excess. Whilst as for quality, it was stated in the Quran, verse 172, that, O ye people of faith, eat from the pure provisions we have given you. Both the quantity and quality of nourishment we consume have a direct impact on our body, mental, emotion, and spiritual well-being. Foods prohibited in Islam, everything is halal on this earth except a few as mentioned in the Quran. He has forbidden you only carrion and blood and swine and flesh and that which has been immolated to the name of any other than Allah. But he is who is driven by necessity, neither craving nor transgressing. It is no sin for him. Lo, Allah is forgiving and most merciful. Allah has asked us to select good food and drinks and prohibits us from haram foods which can cause health hazard. Sunnah food versus halal food. Sunnah food is the best food. Sunnah food fulfills the criteria for healthcare of a human body. Sunnah foods are based on the Quran and Hadith, and Sunnah foods are foods that have been consumed by the Prophet Muhammad. Sunnah food eating in Islam can be exemplified by following the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, which is also in parallel with following the Quran. There has certainly been for you in the Messenger of Allah an excellent example for everyone whose hope is in Allah and the last day and who remembers Allah much. As examples, milk, honey, olives, and dates are foods mentioned in the Quran and Hadith. The Prophet does not only teach us how to choose halal food, but also everything that involves ethics before, during, and after eating. Let's look at halal food. Sunnah food refers to whatever is food consumed by Prophet Muhammad SAW, but halal food has a wider definition. Halal food covers food and beverages and or their ingredients permitted under the Sharia law and fatwa and fulfill the following conditions. It does not consist of or contains any part of matter of an animal that is prohibited by Sharia law and fatwa for a Muslim to consume, or that has not been slaughtered in accordance with Sharia law and fatwa. It does not contain anything which is najis, impure according to Sharia law and fatwa. It does not intoxicate according to Sharia law and fatwa. It does not contain any part of human being or its yield which are not allowed by Sharia law and fatwa. It is not poisonous or hazardous to health. It has not been prepared, processed, or manufactured using any instrument that is contaminated with najis according to Sharia law and fatwa, and it has not in the course of preparing, processing, or storing been in contact with, mixed, or in close proximity to any food that falls to satisfy item A and B. So let's look at eating meat here. Of the cattle are some for burden and some for meat. Eat what God has provided for you and follow not the footsteps of Satan, for he is to you an avowed enemy. Meat is actually a good major source of protein for human development. It supplies fats, vitamins and minerals, iron and zinc for a healthy body. So meat is actually encouraged to be consumed, By eating meat, the Prophet Muhammad prohibited eating meat every day. When asked what he was eating instead of meat, he would say dates and water. Islam does not ban the consumption of meat, but the Prophet ﷺ said it was food of the kings, which implies meat consumption should be treated as a luxury and not the main part of a dish, which can be addictive. At that era, meat from camel, sheep, goat, and cow was consumed. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ liked forelimbs of sheep and preferred this part of over others. It was reported that he took the cooked forelimbs and ate with hand. These are actually from the hadith, Next, we look at drinking milk. Abu Hurairah reported that Allah's Messenger ﷺ was presented 2 cups at Baitul Maqdis on the night of heavenly journey or Isra Mi'raj, one containing wine and the other containing milk. He looked at both of them and he took the one containing milk. Whereupon Gabriel, peace be upon him, said, "Praise is due to Allah who guided you to the true nature. Had you taken the one containing wine, your ummah would have gone astray." This is in Sahih Muslim, yeah. Drinking milk, and verily in cattle too will you find an instructive sign from what is within their bodies between excretions and blood. We produce for you drink milk pure and agreeable to those who drink it. Rasulullah said that milk can wipe away heat from the heart. It is also useful to strengthen the backbones. Milk can improve the brain and drive away forgetfulness. Those who consume milk can also improve their vision. So let's look at breastfeeding. Quran clearly encouraged breastfeeding through the following verse. Mothers shall breastfeed their children for 2 whole years for those who wish to complete them. Quran 2:33, in reminding people to tend to their parents with kindliness, the Quran says, his mother carried him in weakness upon weakness, and his period of weaning is 2 years. This is in line with the WHO theme, which recognizes that breastfeeding the infant for 6 months is highly recommended, which is then proceed until 2 years old and beyond, provides the best possible nutrition that babies need to grow and develop into a healthy diet. Breast milk is proven to contain more than 70% of whey protein compared to cow's milk, which is biologically crucial for the baby's physiological growth. WHO and Ministry of Health Malaysia on breastfeeding, WHO manual for the treatment of acute diarrhea of the program for the control of diarrheal disease states that exclusive breastfeeding for 4 to 6 months offered as often and as freely as the infant desires it, and continued breastfeeding up to at least 2 years of age are most important in the prevention of infantile diarrhea. Breast milk is the best food for infants and has immunological properties which help prevent infection, including diarrhea. UA in 1999 stated that breastfeeding was associated with significantly higher scores for cognitive development than was formula feeding. Now let's look at eating dates. The Prophet ﷺ said, if somebody takes some ajwa dates every morning, he will not be affected by poison or magic on that day till night. So this is actually true, I would say. Eating dates, narrated by Abu Hurairah, once the Prophet ﷺ distributed dates among his companions and gave each one 7 dates. He gave me 7 dates too, one of which was dry and hard, but none of the other dates was more liked by me than that one, for it prolonged my chewing. So it is actually very fulfilling, yeah. Eating dates and cucumber, narrated by Abdullah bin Ja'far bin Abi Talib. I saw Allah's Messenger eating fresh dates with snake cucumber. So this is actually from the hadith. Eating dates, yogurt and butter, narrated by Anas. The Prophet ﷺ halted to consummate his marriage with Safiya. I invited the Muslim to his wedding banquet. He ordered that leather dining sheets be spread. Then dates, dried yogurt and butter were put on those sheets. Anas added the Prophet ﷺ consummated his marriage with Safiya during a journey, whereupon high sweet dish was served on a leather dining sheet. This is actually from Sahih al-Bukhari. Let's look at eating haniya, narrated by Aisha. The Prophet used to like sweet edible things and honey. So this is also from the Sahih al-Bukhari. Eating honey, it is actually quoted in the Quran, Surah 16, ayat 68-69. And thy Lord taught the bee to build its cells in hill on trees and immense habitations, then to eat of all the produce of the earth, and to find with skill the spacious parts of its Lord. There issues from within their bodies a drink of varying colors, wherein is healing for men. Verily this is a sign for those who give thought. The Prophet ﷺ said, honey is a remedy for every illness, and the Quran is a remedy for all illness of the mind. Therefore, I recommend to you both remedies, the Quran and honey. Honey as food and medicine. The quality of honey depends on its chemical composition and floral origins. And as an excellent energy source or carbohydrate, honey contains at least 181 substances, a supersaturated of sugars, mainly fructose and glucose. Yakubi in 2008 discovered that that consuming natural honey can reduce risk attributes of cardiovascular diseases, in particular among patients with increased stress. The World Health Organization made a recommendation in 2001 based on accumulating evidence suggests that honey might have a role in treating cough and cold in children. So, Dr. Alina, you should take honey, yeah, because you're coughing. Eating honey, Balino et al. In 2014 reported that sugars in honey composed of monosaccharides and oligosaccharides. The most plentiful sugar in honey is fructose, while fructose is sweeter and supply extra energy than artificial sweeteners. Besides sugars, honey also comprises of various vitamins, especially B complex and vitamin C, together with a lot of minerals. Some of the vitamins discovered in honey are pentotene acid, ascorbic acid, niacin, and riboflavin, while minerals include magnesium, copper, manganese, calcium, iron, phosphorus, potassium, and zinc are also present. Honey comprises of at least 181 components. Honey comprises 40% glucose, 40% fructose, 20% water, with organic acids, vitamins, enzymes, and minerals. It has specific weight of 1.4 and pH of 3.6, which is actually quite acidic. Fruits and vegetables, this is actually the favorite food of Rasulullah SAW. As for fruits and vegetables, the Quran stated that it is he who produced gardens to grow with trellises and without, and dates and crops of different kinds of food, and olives and pomegranates, similar in kind and different in variety. Eat the fruits in their season when it yields, and give his due or zakat on the day of his harvest, and be not excessive or wasting. Indeed, for Allah does not like those who commit excess. So other messages, it means you should eat natural foods in their season, not processed foods. Eat accordingly, not too much, waste not. We are talking about moderation here, yeah. Fruits and vegetables, WHO in 2014 reported that some foods recommend that eating of vegetables and fruits is important in lowering the threats of non-communicable diseases. Prohibited et al. In 2016 reported that there is an association between higher intake of fruits and lowered threat of breast cancer. Jiang et al. In 2017 highlighted that the raised consumption of vegetables and fruits is related with the reduced threat of cognitive impairment and mental illness. Boeing et al. In 2012 reported that by raising the intake of fruits and vegetables can lower the threats of hypertension, CHD, and stroke. Let's look at pomegranate. Is this the Prophet's favorite food? Dadak in 2019 highlighted that modern scientific research has proven pomegranates to be one of the healthiest foods in the world. They contain manganese, which helps in the formation of bone structure during the metabolic process, and potassium, which helps in maintaining cellular function and retains a balance in fluid levels. Also, they are high in flavonoids and polyphenols, antioxidants, which protect our bodies against heart disease. Let's look at olives. Prophet ﷺ said, eat olive and anoint yourself with it before it comes from a blessed tree. Prophet ﷺ said, eat the olive oil and apply it locally, since there is a cure for 70 diseases in one. In it, one of them is leprosy. It has been proven by recent studies that show both olive and olive oil contain anti-cancer agent, which is squalene and terpenoids. Olive gives the protective benefit in cardiovascular diseases, diabetes mellitus, and related diseases. Eating God of Pumpkin, narrated by Anas bin Abdul Malik. A tailor invited Allah's Messenger SAW to a meal which he had prepared. I went along with Allah's Messenger SAW and saw him seeking to eat the pieces of God from the various dishes of the dish. Since that day, I have liked to eat God. This is from Sahih Bukhari. Eating other vegetables, Sivim 2017 also highlighted that the Prophet ﷺ also liked zucchini, onion, shad, garlic, leek, mushroom, and turnip. A tailor from Madinah prepared a dish with meat and zucchini. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ preferred the zucchini in this dish, and the host put zucchini close to the Prophet ﷺ. Eating sawi or roasted seed, narrated by Suwaid bin Abdul Nu'man. We went out with Allah's Messenger SAW to Khaybar, and when we reached As-Sabah, the Prophet asked for food and he was offered nothing but sawi. We ate, and then Allah's Messenger SAW stood up for the prayer. He rinsed his mouth with water, and we too rinsed our mouth. Sahih al-Bukhari 54:54. Sawi is the roasted type of certain seeds or fruits such as wheat, barley, lentil, apple, rice, which has specific way to be made. Eating barley or bread, Barley bread slowly digests yet nourishing. The Prophet SAW said, do not cut bread with a knife, but give it your honor by breaking it with the hands, for Allah has honored it. Prophet SAW always gives soup made from barley to anyone suffering from the pain of fever. Recommended for patients with hot temperament diseases, relief cough and sore throat. So the Tadina should take barley bread, yeah? Eating barley bread and soup, narrated by Anas bin Abdul Malik. A tailor invited the Prophet SAW to a meal which he had prepared, and I went along with the Prophet SAW. The tailor presented barley bread and soup containing goat and cured meat. I saw the Prophet SAW picking the pieces of goat from around the dish, and since then I have kept on liking goat. Eating vinegar, Jabir ibn Abdullah reported, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessing be upon him, took hold of my hand one day and led me to his residence. Some pieces of bread were given to him, and the Prophet said, are there any condiments? They said, none, but some vinegar. The Prophet said, verily vinegar is an excellent condiment. Jabir said, I have always loved vinegar ever since I heard this from the Prophet. Talha said, I have always loved vinegar ever since I heard this from Jabir. This is from Sahih Muslim, yeah? So let's now look at Islamic eating practices, the second part of the Islamic nutrition. A Muslim should emulate eating habits of the Prophet ﷺ to be healthy so that they can worship Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. This actually means that Muslims do not eat if they are full and do not drink if they are not thirsty. Prophet ﷺ said, we are a people who do not eat until we are hungry, and when we eat, we do not eat to our fear. Before eating, the general practice before eating and drinking is to wash one's hands and to clean all dirt. A Muslim starts eating by saying in the name of Allah or Bismillah and kneel before the food. In case a Muslim forgets to say Bismillah, Abu Dawud reported that Prophet ﷺ stated that if any of you is about to eat, he should mention the name of Allah. If he forgets to mention the name of Allah at the beginning, he should say in the name of Allah over the beginning and the ending. The right way to wash your hands, which is actually on the screen, say Bismillah, and before eating, Muslims should not delay eating if food is already being served. The intention of eating should be to strengthen oneself and be healthy to worship Allah, and serve food in proper containers on clean spread or cloth or mat on the floor. Bukhari reported that the Prophet ﷺ did not eat on the table or from a platter, which is actually different from what we always do now, yeah? Before eating, sit in a modest way by putting the right leg straight and sit upon the left leg. Should not comment on food being served. Allah Messenger ﷺ never found fault with any food. If he desired it, he would eat it. If he disliked it, he would leave it. Dining should be with a group of people or jama'ah, for example, with guests, family members or friends. Eat your food together, for you will thereby be blessed in it. So you should be eating in a jama'ah, yeah? During eating, the person should eat with his right hand using 3 fingers, taking small portions and chew them well. Our Prophet ﷺ uttered, it is not right to eat your food quickly. Besides, one should eat from what lies nearest to one. He should eat the food that is closest to him and do not take any food from the middle of the plate. Prophet ﷺ told Umar bin Salamah, O young man, mention the name of Allah, eat with your right hand and eat from what is close to you. The blessings descend from the middle of the food, so eat from the edges and do not eat from the middle. If any food is dropped, it should be clean and eaten. Food and drink should be served to the elders in the gathering, then to those on the right. Eat with your right hand, yeah? During eating, one should not blow over hot food. Instead, he should wait until the food cools down. He also should not blow into a glass of water while drinking from it. Instead, he should breathe 3 times outside the glass. The Prophet ﷺ recommended that one should stop eating while there is extra room for the stomach in order that food will be digested more easily. A Muslim should not overeat. Prophet ﷺ said that a human does not fill any container worse than his stomach. It is enough for a human to have some muscles to strengthen his back, keep his back straight. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you must eat more, be sure that only 1/3 of your stomach is filled with food, 1/3 is left for water, and the remaining 1/3 for air. So 1/3 for food, 1/3 for water, 1/3 for air. So can you imagine how much food you eat every day? After eating, Muslims should stop eating before he becomes full, as shown by the Prophet Muhammad SAW. A person should lick his fingers, brush his teeth, and rinse his mouth after eating to maintain oral health. Muslims must praise Allah at the end of every meal for all the food he had eaten to show his gratitude. Prophet Muhammad SAW said, if a person eats any food and then says, Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah who fed me this, and provided for me without any strength or power on my part, all of his previous sins will be forgiven. So that is actually all talking about halal nutrition. Yeah, we were talking about halal food and eating manners. So the Prophet's diet, the Prophet Muhammad always eat dates, goats, cucumbers, wholemeal barley bread and soup, honey and milk. His diet is full with fruits and vegetables mixed with a little bit of meat, protein and bread, which is carbohydrate. The diet is similar to the Malaysian healthy plate, half fruits and vegetables, quarter for protein and quarter for carbohydrates. So I always talk about the halal nutrition model. The model for halal nutrition is in line with the Malaysian healthy plate, whereby all food composition must be halal and toy must be free from haram sources, carry on blood, pork and liquor. So this is how it looks like. The halal nutrition model, it should be a quarter protein, a quarter carbohydrate and half with fruits and vegetables. But the halal nutrition model stress about prohibited, which is actually carry on blood, pork and liquor. In summary, Islam has laid down the foundations in the Quran and Sunnah for the best approach to good health. The Malaysian healthy plate is in line with the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad as the principles of food consumption is moderation and balance. Half fruits and vegetables, quarter for protein and quarter for carbohydrates. The model for halal nutrition remains that all food composition must be halal and tayyib and free from haram sources, carry on blood, pork and liquor. That is all from me today. Thank you very much for your attention. And that is actually my email in case you want to email me, yeah?
Thank you very much, Mr. Maryam Abdullatif. MashaAllah, we are learning a lot from all of you yesterday and today. And especially because today is a Malaysian Women Day for this conference, MashaAllah. It's a country that we, the halal certification bodies, we have learned a lot regarding halal standard and how to manage the halal industry. And I know you from long time ago when you work with my father. So after your amazing and presentation that give us a lot of knowledge about the halal dietary. We have some question to you regarding your personal experience as, let us say, a leader from the halal nutrition, from the halal industry. So if you let me, the first question it is, what inspired you to start working and studying in halal nutrition?
Yes, I've been studying halal nutrition for a long time. I think I've been studying this model for the past 4 years. And I think it is actually a good to promote to everyone talking about halal nutrition, yeah? So everybody will know what to eat and how to eat properly. So they are supposed to follow the Prophet Muhammad. And I'm talking about sunnah food and halal food, which is actually wider in definition. Sunnah food is actually talking about food eaten by the Prophet Muhammad, yeah? So we are talking about halal food, which is actually a wider selection of food.
So for the next question, what were the challenges you had overcome in the initial stages of starting your halal nutrition career?
Not much challenges, I think, because I think I've been studying nutrition since 1990. No, I was in UK. I think that was in 2000. And then I studied nutrition, and then I tried to link it with halal food. So that's how I come up with the term of halal nutrition. It's not very much challenges because I'm actually educated in nutrition, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you dedicated inside Malaysia, from
Yes.
Malaysia to over the world, okay. And what is the most important thing you feel anyone needs to do to build a successful company or project regarding halal industry?
Well, it will be good to do more studies in this area where you can study the prevalence of people eating halal food or halal nutrition, whether people practice or not exactly what Prophet Muhammad SAW do. So I'm doing some research studies on that area. So we are looking at how many people practice eating halal food per se, and how many people are practicing eating etiquette like the Prophet Muhammad SAW. So it is actually noted in one study that I did among University Malaysian Sabah students. They have very good knowledge about halal nutrition, but they didn't practice the halal practices like eating practices. They didn't practice that. Maybe because of different cultures, I think.
Today we have to work more to keep the tradition of halal nutrition, even there is new processed food style or culture, right?
Yes, yes.
What were the most important learning experiences you would like to share with the audience?
I would like to share about the halal nutrition per se. I would really like to promote everybody to practice eating halal food, which is actually eaten by the Prophet SAW, and also practice the Islamic dietary practices by the Prophet Muhammad SAW. So let's come back to the basic again, which is actually a very good practice for everyone, so that we'll have a healthy life.
What advice you could give to the aspiring leaders in the halal industry?
I beg your pardon?
What advice you could give to the aspiring leaders in the halal industry? What advice?
My internet connection is unstable, Amal.
No problem.
I cannot hear you very well.
What advice you would like to give to the aspiring leaders in the halal industry?
I would really like to promote everybody to practice eating halal food and also to practice the Islamic eating practices, yeah? So which is actually very important to everyone in the whole world to practice that among their families, so that we can actually promote healthy eating as well as to lead healthy lives.
Okay, Sister Maryam, I think, what do you think that nowadays there are the new trends for intermittent fasting, and nowadays with the advent of technology, we have apps promoting intermittent fasting. So why not we as Muslims also have our Muslims food industry to not only just produce packaged halal food, but also perhaps produce dietary programs that integrate good nutrition, sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as the amalan or the amal of perhaps the fasting, the voluntary fasting of Mondays and Thursdays, and the 3 days per month fasting, make it like a package, because we have seen so many products like diet products as a package. What do you think of that?
I would agree that very much. I fully support that fasting to be included in the eating dietary practices, which is actually very good. That will be my next area of study, talking about fasting in Islam, which is actually very relevant to the medical world as well. Talking about fasting when you are ill or you are sick, people are encouraged to fast, so that the body can rest from some metabolic processes. So that is actually advisable for people to fast on Mondays and Thursdays, like what the Prophet SAW did. So that is actually a very good point, Dr. Lina. Thank you very much for your comments.
You're welcome, and I will take more barley and honey. Thanks for your suggestion.
I have a question, if it is possible. I don't want to take you too much time because we have other speakers, but there are a lot of hadiths from Rasulullah and that talk about the importance to eat bread or gluten, let us say, wheat in English, not gluten. But there is nowadays more people that have allergic or gluten problems. So how you can connect it regarding all the hadith and education of Rasulullah for eating bread, but nowadays there are people who are really allergic to it. I think that because there was not toxins and things like that as today, but I have no idea regarding this point.
That goes back to the principles of halal food, yeah? Talking about halal food, it has to be wholesome. It has to be non-hazardous to have. So it talks about allergic people. So you need to label your products as being containing allergen, for example. You must label your products to such matters, so that people with gluten allergenicity will actually avoid such food. For example, you should prepare gluten-free bread, for example. So you should encourage taking wholemeal bread instead, yeah? So I would advise you to take barley bread, which is actually the favorite bread of the Prophet Muhammad.
What's the name?
Barley bread.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amal.
You're welcome. Sorry, my microphone was off. We go for the next speaker.
Okay, thank you very much, Amal.
Thank you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Anis Rambly. We will present Sister Anis Rambly, founder and editor at Halal Lux from Malaysia, of course. She's the founder and editor of Halal Lux. Anis travels the world and works with luxury properties eager to embrace halal inclusivity. Her journalism background and consulting work with Japan Halal Foundation have made her adept at advocating halal in collaboration with high-end hospitality brands to tap the niche Muslim luxury travel market. Anis was editor of Muhiba, the award-winning flight magazine of Royal Brunei Airlines for 10 years before leaving her post in 2019. During that time, she was instrumental in developing content and fusing a halal-oriented focus for the airline guests. In her spare time, Anis draws open her degree in psychology to teach journal writing and heads the new Muslim community program at Al-Khadim, an NGO in Malaysia supporting and mentoring reverts and those interested to learn the deen. Thank you very much, Sister Anis. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jazakillah khairan, Sister Amal. May I just ask that I'm allowed to share screen already? Okay, thank you. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To the host and organizer, Brother Muhammad Noor, Sisters Amal and Dr. Lina, the co-hosts, and my respected fellow speakers, thank you. And I've been enjoying the talks and the sharing that was given. So I hope that I can do justice to this conference by sharing a little bit about the things that I do at Halal Lux. So here goes, yeah. When we talk about, I'm just gonna, okay, all right. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit of story before I segue into what Halal Lux does. So a few years ago, maybe about 3 years back, I was blessed enough to go to Thailand in this island called Koh Kood, which is a far-flung remote island from Bangkok. It takes about you fly into Bangkok, you take another hour's flight into this town called Trang, and then from there you need to take a ferry about an hour or so to this island. And it's a luxurious resort. I'm just gonna put that on the screen. It's a very luxurious resort. Kokut is the name of the island, and of course, for its luxury, you have the other option of flying into the island using their own private airplane. And that, as you can see, brothers and sisters, is their own airstrip. No other airlines or no other planes land there except what belongs to Sinivakiri. So it's really a very independent brand that really understands the meaning of luxury. Yeah. So anyway, when I had the chance to visit the resort in my capacity, in my work capacity. So I met the chef who was at the resort. His name is Chef Kango. Now, Chef Kango is Japanese. He grew up in Tokyo. And then at the age of 25, he went over to Spain to work as a chef. Now, he doesn't have a background in the culinary arts. All he knew was he had to go to Spain because he loved the weather, he loved the country, he loved the football. And he said later on, and I love the girls. So anyway, so he went to Spain and he worked as a chef in a couple of restaurants, but interestingly enough, they were all at areas where there was a high Muslim population, specifically in Marabella and Malaga, right? So when I met him in Sonevakiri, the resort that I was at, of course, I went there, and prior to going there, I said, look, if I were to go there, would you be able to accommodate my dietary requirements? I would need halal, you know, and they say, oh, no problem. We have halal chicken, we have halal meat, and, you know, you just can come over. So, so anyway, on the first night, you know, the chef came around the tables, going from table to table and talking to the guests. And then later on, he came to me and he said, how's everything? And I said, alhamdulillah, everything's good. And he had prepared for me, you know, this really beautiful sous vide beef cooked with carrots. And he said, how's the beef? I said, alhamdulillah, it's good, chef. And then I could see that he was a bit agitated. I could see that there was something that he wanted to tell me, but he was just a bit, there was something that was holding him back. And then finally he mustered up enough courage and he said, look, Miss Anis, could I ask you something? I said, sure, chef. What about? And he said, you know, I've tried halal meat, but it doesn't taste that much different from the other halal, from the other meats I've ever had. And so I looked at him and I said, well, chef, it should not taste any different, because if it did taste different, then you and I have got to talk, because that's a multi-million industry that we're going to go in, right? So coming to the conversation that I had with him, for somebody who has worked in you know, in the better part of Spain that had a lot of Muslim population, and later on he worked in UAE, I realized that he may be working in a Muslim, you know, among a Muslim community, but that doesn't necessarily mean he has the understanding or the knowledge of what halal means. So that kickstarted, you know, my conversations with him during my stay, and this is what Halalux is all about. Halalux is a platform which, you know, tries to bring forth and curate stays and highlight properties and resorts that are ready to embrace halal inclusivity. And by that, I mean, you know, all the resorts and properties that are partnering with Halalux, they do have the hardware and the software, but they don't necessarily understand that these are the things that a Muslim traveler is looking for. So I'm going to bring you on a journey to understand more about halal, because in Malaysia, or maybe in Asia, in Southeast Asia, when we talk about halal, it's basically about halal food. But then when you look at the Islamic tenets of what halal means, halal is, you know, it has an overarching theme that encompasses not just the food, but a halal lifestyle. I'll give you an example. There's halal speech. right? Where, you know, the believers encouraged to speak only good words. Halal actions, you know, when we do business or when we engage with the community or with our neighbor or with family, you know, what are the halal actions that we speak of? That means we do good. We don't hit each other, or we don't, you know, try to cheat or try to say unrealistic words, you know, and there's also halal speech. There's also halal dressing. So when it comes to halal, basically, these are the things that I often have dialogues with the partners, the hospitality brands that I partner with, to make them understand that, you know, you have a resort and you have, for example, in Soneva, right? One of the things that they have is this, I mean, they have one of the largest accommodations in Thailand. This is a villa that can accommodate about 6 families. And when you look at this picture, what do you see? You see privacy. You see, you know, the ability for a Muslim hijabi like myself to just be very peaceful when you go on vacation like this. And that's you know, that's something that is, you know, it speaks about halal inclusivity. It speaks about being able to welcome the Muslim traveler, you know, and not necessarily something that has to go back to just food, right? So now Soneva has all this down pat, not just the private villas and the private plunge pools, but they also have, okay, they also have, this is a children's club, right? The kids club. Now, what has that got to do with halal again? Again, when you talk about family vacations, then it is in itself is an Islamic tenet to be able to spend quality time with the family. And when you have families, obviously, you know, you want to have the kids to have their own place as well. And so Soneva has taken that kids club a notch higher by not just making it as an afterthought. You know, they really built up this den that was made with sustainable bamboo, and they had, you know, activities that would involve mothers and fathers as well. So the vacation becomes, you know, quality family time that again goes back to what Islam is all about, right? And there was also a lot of emphasis on how the staff were welcoming the guests, whether you are old or whether you are young, you know, the staff are just able to anticipate your needs. And that in itself is an Islamic tenet, basically being able to communicate and to engage with your customers and with your guests in the best manners as possible, because you know, halal speech means speaking the best manners and in the best words, right? So so Soneva was one of those luxury brands, again, one of those high-end brands that had the software and the hardware, but they didn't necessarily know that this was exactly what the Muslim traveler is looking for. And I'll take that up a notch a little bit. Now, when we talk about traveling, you know, for the Muslim traveler, you know, the prayer, the salah can be done basically anywhere, right? And then, of course, when you talk about, you know, facilities that are women friendly, you have the women only spa, and again, going back to the accommodation where you have, you know, accommodation that's private, that is that works with the hijabi, you know, a traveler. Then of course they have private beaches, but when we talk about experiences and the authenticity of a traveler experiencing the destination or the place that they were going, so it's always the food that kicks in, and that's always a challenge when it comes to, you know, really enjoying the vacation. So this is where Halalux does the dialogues, you know, trying to have that balance between, yes, you've got the hardware down pat, you've got the software down pat, but here's where, you know, you can make it even better for the Muslim traveler when you're able to give them, when you're able to accommodate their dietary needs. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about their dietary requirements and dietary needs later on. I'm just going to share with you again some of the places that Halalux has gone to, you know, because I know the past 2.5 years, we've all been stuck at home. I'm just going to give you like a virtual journey of the places that you all can go once international borders are open, right? So this is Bawah Reserve in the Anambas Archipelago in Indonesia. So again, this is a cluster of 6 islands, very private. So 6 islands in the middle of nowhere, basically. And the only way to get there is to get a flight out from Batam Island. And again, it's a private flight that you take. It's about 80 minutes, and it's actually a seaplane. So you will land on the sea, and then you will be in this really gorgeous resort that has about 30 odd villas. So it's not very high capacity. So you really feel that you are there. I mean, it's a very private getaway, right? But one of the most wonderful things I remembered about this is the private beach. Now, for any female Muslim traveler that has gone to beaches, you know how we miss the sun on our skin, feeling the hair blowing in our, feeling the wind blowing in our hair. So, and a lot of resorts say, yes, we do have private beaches, but it's not really private. This one, I can tell you, is so private because the nearest inhabited island is about 2 hours away by boat. There's not a single soul around. And the staff will leave you there for your private picnic for as long as you want. So you can stay for an hour or the whole day. And you have the whole area to yourself. And can you imagine? It was one of the most unforgettable experiences I've ever had as a hijabi traveler. So again, this was the conversations that I had with Bawa, right? I said, look, you have this facility, this option, for your guests to be in this private beach. Do you know how many Muslim travelers really want that, that experience? So again, it goes back to experiential luxury and authenticity, right? So next that I'm gonna segue into is a little bit different. It's not a resort in any island, but it's actually an urban ryokan in Tokyo. So a ryokan is a traditional Japanese accommodation. Usually people get them in the outskirts, in the villages. So Hoshinoya has actually developed an urban ryokan in the middle of Tokyo. And I can tell you that, as soon as you go into the building, now this is smack in the middle of the financial district in Tokyo. But once you enter the door, you will be welcomed into this very peaceful corridor. Those little squares that you see on the left-hand side, those are actually shoe boxes, because all guests that come in, they will leave their shoes in there, and everybody walks barefooted, in this 13-story building. So it really feels very intimate. It feels very organic, because it goes back to how Prophet Musa alayhi salam, was asked to leave his shoes behind before he entered the valley of Tuwa, right? And there's just something so organic about walking barefooted. So this is Hoshinoya. But Hoshinoya is they were very truthful from the very beginning when they said that, look, we cannot be, we're not able to accommodate your halal dietary, but this is what we can do. So subhanAllah, what they did was, when they gave us breakfast the morning that we were there, they were so particular about about cross-contamination of the food, right? Because we're talking about cross-contamination, how halal really means that, how, if it's halal meat, it has to be refrigerated separately to ensure peace of mind for the travelers, for the guests. So they were so particular about not having any cross-contamination that our fruit basket, right? Listen to this. They didn't want to give us any sliced fruits, because they said we were just not sure about the knives that we use and the chopping boards that we use. So what we've done for you is we've plucked fruits for you. So what they did was specifically gave us berries and strawberries and grapes, things that didn't really need a lot of knife action. And they were very, very intuitive in their service towards us. Now, the other thing that they did, which we really didn't expect, was okay. This is the onsen that was on the highest floor. Now, an onsen is basically a spring water bath or oasis, where normally ryokans would pump the spring water into the bath, right? So this was right up on the 13th floor. So the hotel had actually developed their own pump capacity, and they were just bringing the water up from the middle of Tokyo. And the water is, with spring water, there's a lot of benefits in it. There's all minerals, and you're supposed to go in there and enjoy the benefits of the bath. But guess what? Being a traditional ryokan, guests are supposed to be there, without clothes on. Now, this is very traditional Japanese. And although they had separate bath areas for the men and women, but then, being Muslim travelers, we just couldn't do that. But what the hotel did was, they told us that, look, every morning at 2 o'clock, we do a kind of cleaning, and there's nobody in the onsen. We could open it up for you, and you can have the onsen all to yourself. So me and my girlfriend were like, all right, yes, now we can go there, right? Because it's the only time we could ever experience an onsen bath that was truly female friendly. And for that, it was only made possible because we had a lot of conversations on the needs of the Muslim traveler. We had conversations with the management, we had conversations with the F&B department, we had conversations with the staff for them to understand how to welcome the Muslim traveler, whether it be a male or female, and to know that some hospital brands are able to accommodate those requests. It shows that, the industry is actually ready to embrace halal inclusivity into their ethos. It's just about us being able to have those right conversations and to have this right dialogues, right? So now coming back to the resorts and the hospital brands and the hotels that are knowingly having the right facilities that could be beneficial to the Muslim, and yet they don't know what that they are. How then does Halalux work with them in the past 2 years when there was a pause in travel? So I've been, alhamdulillah, in contact with most of them, and they've been, we've been in conversations and trying to just basically share with them what Islam is really all about. Because when, again, coming to speak about halal tourism or Islamic tourism or halal in itself, there's a lot of knowledge gap, in the industry in understanding what halal really is. Right, so that has given me the opportunity to just share with them the basic universal values that Islam has, starting from the very basic principles of the tenets of Islam, the foundations, where we talk about the 5 pillars of Islam, the 6 articles of faith, and the 1 pillar of Ihsan. So when they have an overview of what Islam is, and they know that halal is not just for Muslims, but it's good for everyone, then there's a more of an understanding there, and a lot more open to have more dialogues on welcoming or being able to accommodate the Muslims' needs in terms of guests, facilities, and what have you. So in the 2 years that there was a travel pause, Halalux then was pivoting to do a retreat. Now, this retreat was just quite recent that I organized, which was in January. And for those of us in Malaysia, we know that January was a highly challenging time because the retreat was done amid the floods in the West Coast, the monsoon season in the East Coast, and then there was COVID all around. So it was really nerve-wracking. But alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah, He really made it special, and He really made it easy for the retreat to go. So the retreat, again, was all about experiential luxury and authenticity. A lot of the programs that I did, with the journal writing and the body movements that we had at the beach, it was all about encouraging participants to experience it looking at it through the lens of the Iman, because it's all about, when we talk about Islam being, the way of life, we tend to parrot it, but we don't really internalize it and we don't really integrate it into our lives, right? So this is, for example, this is one of the things that I tried to connect back the experience of the participants to the area that we were at. So Terengganu in the east coast of Malaysia is known for their the Malay traditional I would say traditional treatments or therapies, right? That was passed down generations to generations. So over here, I had the participants experience what it is to have a hot pouch massage that is basically filled with hot sand that was taken from the beach in Terengganu. And this again, the West has the hot stones, whereas the Asians have the hot pouches, and this was truly unique to Terengganu. We also had the experience of making salah in Jama'ah by the beach, and that was the highlight of the I would say highlight of the retreat, because a lot of people never had that experience before. So this is I'm just going to run through this quick video. I know I have a little bit more time just to give an idea how the retreat highlights halal lux and halal luxury, inshallah. And that basically is, that is basically the end of my presentation. And I hope that I was able to virtually take you away to all these faraway places and dream about it. And inshallah, be able to, again, visit the resorts that have embraced halal inclusivity. I'm going to end quickly with Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Madam Anis, and I think you are very good example to show that Islam is simple, and you really live through the hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is simplify, don't complicate. So you do it through the actions, and directly you are actually reviving the halal industry, the tourism industry, just by showing practical and simple ways and means of the adab. Okay, so I will now let Miss Amal with the Q&A. Okay, Amal, please continue.
Thank you, Sister Alina, and thank you, Sister Anis, because your presentation make us believe that the halal tourism and ecosystem is possible. Really interesting, and the pictures, everything was amazing. Jazakallahu khairan ya Rab. We have some questions for you.
Sure.
We would like to know, you said it already, but what were the most important learning experiences you would like to share today regarding your presentation?
Well, just like, you know, as to have the confidence to be able to share the message of Islam, really. I think there's a lot of insecurities among Muslims themselves because they feel that they're not able to share that message, whereas Rasulullah SAW said, you know, share even one ayat, right? So for me, even a smile is a good tenet or a good you know a good way to introduce Islam, right? When we talk again, it goes back to that halal principle of food. When I work as a consultant with Japan Halal Foundation, you know, we don't just talk about the importance of halal certification or halal food. We actually begin from the foundations, you know, talking about what are the 5 things that a Muslim believes, what are the 6 articles of faith and 1 pillar of Ihsan. And subhanAllah, just by giving that 1-day workshop on the basic foundation, there'll never be a workshop where we don't have at least 1 person taking shahada from that workshop on halal certification. So inshallah.
Inshallah. And what advice you would give to the aspiring leaders in the halal industry? Let us say regarding your work, your halal, your project.
To do your level best and always to have the right intentions, do it purely for the sake of Allah with sincerity, and doing that purely for His sake means to do it following the Quran and the authentic Sunnah of the Prophet, and only then I think we will be happy and contented, and inshallah have a good ending, inshallah. Yeah, Ameen.
Thank you very much, Sister Anis. Now I give you the microphone to Sister Alina. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sister Amal, as well as Sister Anis, for a very enlightening presentation. So now I would like to call upon our dearest respected Professor Dr. Farida Haji Hassan, who is Deputy President of World Academy of Islamic Management, Malaysia. Professor Dr. Farida is from the Department of Ranking at University UiTM Global or University Technology Mara, Malaysia, and currently the Deputy President of World Academy of Islamic Management, Chartered Institute of Marketing, and McPhee, Board of Director of a public listed company. She was the founder and director of Halal Management and Science, or in short Halal Mas, Director of Institute of Business Excellence, and former Dean Faculty of Business Management. Her works involve in numerous international research consultancy, training, publication, and also chief as the associate editor for 2 Scopus journals, MAJs, EFE, and Emerald JIMA, which is very well known for halal publication internationally. So Professor Farida is also a regular invited speaker in various international conferences in halal marketing and strategic business management. And for today, we will not want to miss the golden opportunity to listen to her experience and also perhaps ask her good questions for us to learn from her wisdom and experience. Please welcome Professor Dr. Farida. The floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Alina. Since I'm the last speaker, I think I've got a very short time. So maybe not many questions. Hence, I'll try my very best to do what I'm supposed to do. And I guess I would like to thank very much after listening to the two speakers just now, Sister Maryam, hello again, long time no see, as well as Sister Anis, first time that I'm meeting you. Okay, I'm about to share my slide now. Please tell me if you can view this. Can you? Yes, Alhamdulillah. Anis, I see you nodding, right? Good. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good day to everyone. And I'm Farida from Malaysia. And although today the speakers are all from Malaysia, it's nice to see Sister Maryam and many others that I know who are here. My salutation to Brother Ihsan Overeat from SMIC, as well as Brother Nur Muhammad, Sister Melody Amal. Nice to see you all again, and thank you for having me here today. All right, it's great to be back, even though online. I really look forward to join you all. I learned a lot from every speakers, and yesterday, actually, I was a little bit worried when I was invited. I asked Alina, what am I supposed to speak this time, you know, with this title, Women Leaders Know Their Journey and Their Expertise or Experience, sorry. And she said, anything off the cuff, it can be santai. Santai means very relaxing. And yes, and today here I am trying to be as relaxed as possible, as well as I would say I don't prepare my slides as I do like in the past, very heavy stuff, but today it's more of sharing experiences, which I hope I will be doing justice to this conference to share like how Sister Barbara as well as Anna Maria shared yesterday. This is first time I'm doing it this way, and I do hope that I'm not bragging. And if I do, Sister Alina and Sister Amal, please stop me anytime you want. Okay. All right. I'm I guess with the first page that I'm sharing, I'm with a lot of things actually right now. I started off, my background is actually in marketing and went into strategic management, and I fell into halal by chance actually, and I'm one person who doesn't say no, and when I'm being assigned, and I said yes, you know, that's my nature. And I think I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I end up doing something that I never thought of. Okay, but Alhamdulillah, that's how much I can say. Alhamdulillah, I really love this area. I thank God for giving me this opportunity. Now, the FCIM that you can see over there is actually a Chartered Institute of Marketing from UK. So as a marketing person background, I in fact proposed to UK to come up, or in fact incorporate halal and Islamic matters in their syllabus to the professional bodies as well as professional candidates, you know, all over the world, universally. So I guess that's my role as a fellow, yeah. So I guess what can you do, you know, as a woman, or probably as an ummah, whilst you're still alive, what would be your contribution? If I think if I can do a little bit there, I think I hope I can you know, spread around our activities in halal marketing as well as halal management for them to learn, okay, including not only halal management but also in the area of finance, and not so much in science, because I would handle more of the marketing of halal science rather than the scientific aspect. Now, currently I'm with University of Technology Mara for the last, I would say, gonna be how many 43 years, coming to 43 years. So you're looking like you're looking at an antique over here. Alina knew me a long time ago. I'm probably twice the age of Amal. And I'm with the Department of Ranking. I retired in 2018, but I was offered to be under the Department of Ranking, to do ranking for the universities, which I take care or assist in the workshop training, both in the main campus as well as the branches from the Northern Peninsula, as close as the border of Thailand, to the Borneo Island, where we conduct on how to publish, including on halal topics. Okay, so with a bit of that, now let me just go on to what I wanted to share with you. Okay, okay. Now, like what Sister Anis mentioned just now about traveling, I'm also one of the international director for this UCSC, Universal Crescent Standard Center, which is a group of professionals, both from Malaysia as well as started off in Turkey actually. Maybe I'll share this with Brother Ihsan soon, because there's a lot to do in this group. And okay, what we do is that we do the quality system and do rating and award it to possible companies, organizations, hotels, 5 stars, 6 stars, including homestays, and if Sister Anis would like to also do FOC rating that we offer to prelim, it would be helpful to have this rating, because you can also promote it on your website. Anyway, having said that, today's area that I'm going to share with you would in a way summarize the experiences, that is using this Ibn Battuta's quotation that says, travel leaves you speechless, then turn you into a storyteller. So today I am a storytelling person. Okay, I'm having a slight course in my voice because just like I think it's the weather in Malaysia, like how Sister Alina was having coughing just now, and there's flooding in Kuala Lumpur. But today I'm lucky. We are lucky because it's not raining. It stopped suddenly, Alhamdulillah. Yesterday it was terrible, and the golden triangle of KLCC had flash flood. So it's good that you all are not around here today. I mean in Malaysia right now. Otherwise we'll be waiting and having a fiesta of some what do you call Songkran, where like the Thai enjoying the water festival. All right, so the content that I'll be highlighting would be, as I've said, bragging about myself, the introduction of background, okay, and then SWOT in the halal on how more ladies, okay, including guys, I'm not talking about only the ladies, guys who wants to come into the halal arena, I would welcome all of you to do so. I always encourage my postgraduate students to challenge themselves when they do their MBA. I said, please, for heaven's sake, proceed to your PhD. There's a lot of research out there that you need to explore to help the world, to help the ummah, because we need all their strength, their efforts, their energy to really discover about issues in halal. And the last two that I wanted to highlight, actually only one actually is the conclusion. I do not know whether I save or did not save, but anyway, forget it. Since I'm here, it will be on the conclusion of the digital future, including the society of 5.1, which I will explain what this is all about. Yeah. So, okay, let me highlight to you how I got into this halal thing. And I'm still doing it, even though I am at the Department of Ranking, as I've mentioned to you. I am still assisting people to do publication in halal management and science, because I think especially on Scopus or Emerald, Alina and Prof. Maryam, and also those who are in the academia would understand why this is so very important. And I'm glad when they managed to have that impact publication journals, on halal, because it has a tremendous effect or impact on the society. Now, coincidentally, I was appointed as the Deputy President of World Academy of Islamic Management. And over here, I'm still active with conferences, which we are doing one in September this year online. This will be our third one. And so with the name of Islamic Management, I'm still professing on halal. And Alhamdulillah, the members are from all over the world. You can also join this if you want. And the third one, the MACFI, or the acronym is for Malaysian Consumer and Family Economic Association. I also encourage people to write on, consumerism in halal food and services, or in the Muslim interests, okay, for the Muslim interests, as well as the family economics, because you need to know how to plan for your family. And other than that, they also and also looking into Islamic finance, okay. And it so happened I am I was one of the first few who members of the women member in the Chartered Institute of Marketing Malaysia, currently holding the position as Deputy President. And that is in Malaysia, but the one that I always carry as an active member would be the one as a fellow from UK. So they are linked, yeah. And we conduct CPD talks, continuous professional development programs, which I always take the opportunity to introduce halal to our non-Muslim friends, because they always have a lot of curiosity, and it may sound simple, but it does make an impact on them when, you make it sound so easy for them to get involved and appreciate what halal is all about. Now, the next one, I've been the board of director for this public listed company, a trust fund, handling the Islamic finance, mostly Islamic financial services. I was the only lady director, board director for 20 years there. And Alhamdulillah, I learned a lot actually, having all these titles with you actually doesn't put you, I would say from the very beginning, any better, because actually you become a student, okay? You learn a lot of things by holding such positions. And your interaction, your newness in the field that you may not be that familiar, actually brings you somewhere, exploring into new arena. And the next position that I held was the Dean of the Faculty of Business Management, way back in 1998. I do not know where Amal was then. Amal, you must be very young then, am I right? Very, very young. And at that time, I was like, I was afraid of myself, and I told the management, why don't you get, the guys in, because there were no women dean prior to me, and I felt that it's too heavy for me to accept. But I guess they had no choice at that time. I was just there at just in time, I would say. So it took me 1 month, butterflies in my stomach. But I guess with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a lot of prayers and istihara as well as daily prayers, I wade through, and I waded through, and Alhamdulillah, I got the best support from the very seniors, including my former professors and my juniors and my colleagues. And at that time, can you imagine, I was handling about 50,000 students throughout Malaysia with about 2,000 academicians under me. We were the biggest faculty, enough to be called a university on its own. And but at that time, we do not have WhatsApp. So we do have, what do you call that? Email. So luckily, I am very fast in typing. So if any one of you were to receive my text, messages, WhatsApp, and I write very lengthy messages, is because I'm very fast in typing, because my late dad wasn't sure of my capabilities, and he felt then, when I was young, doing my O-levels, he said, Farida, I think the most you can be is a secretary. So I'll send you to a secretary class, to learn typing, which I did. But it helps me a lot. I know when I did my PhD, it was the perfect tool for me to get my thesis done quickly. I don't have to pay people to do it. Alhamdulillah. So okay. Now, having been the lady dean at that time, I would say, many would say, there's a glass ceiling. I think most of the women I've met would say that there's a glass ceiling for the women to be a prime minister, to be deputy prime minister, to be any CEOs, to be any bosses. I totally disagree. I definitely totally disagree. Okay, because from my early careers way back in 1980s, I have been involved as the only lady in a lot of things. And I guess the only reason that I can imagine or remember why I had such opportunity is that when somebody asks me, Farida, can you do this? My answer has always been yes, even though I do not know what is it all about, but I was willing to learn. And now that's how I ended, till what I am today. That includes research consultancies. Okay, I did it with my friends, topics that are unimaginable. Started off with doing, I don't know whether any of you are aware about cockles, seafood, shell food, that we did for the Malaysian government way back in 1980s. And then we went to bigger projects like exporting mangoes to Japan. And my colleagues was telling me, Farida, why don't we go to UK? And then we can visit UK and this and that. I said, no. Everybody goes to UK. Why do we do research in Japan? Because we have never been to Japan. And I felt that the standards in Japan is so high, then we can if we can really export our fruits to Japan, we can export in any other parts of the world, because Japanese standard is so high. So if you ask me, how did I get started into halal? It was this project after Japan that the Ministry of Agriculture saw my team's strength, that they awarded a top-down grant to us to do a research on halal food marketing in Europe, Middle East, and Malaysia, halal certification in all the 13 states. So from there on, in 2010 until now, 2022, there was no stopping at all. It just evolved and went through. So from that particular research consultancy, it was a big amount. We didn't know whether we can do it or not, but then we said, let's give it a try. And we did. And I guess my team, it so happened, Amal, I just want to motivate you. In my team, there was 3 ladies, only 1 guy. Okay, so I guess we need that guy just in case, we get into trouble with other guys. And but the rest of the girls, we just try it all out, and it was wonderful. So yes, in research consultancies, my pointers to all the researchers out there, young at heart, okay, is to have a good harmonious group members, because you need to understand your team members in order to do a good job. If you find your team members who are always arguing unnecessarily, it does not help you. It's going to stop you a lot of times in your research. Okay, so harmonious group is so important. But of course, Alina would understand what I will share in a while. Your management, some management who doesn't understand what you're doing, will be telling you, you keep on doing these same people. Why can't you have new people with you? Yes, you can. Once you have developed, then you can spin off. Okay, but to begin with a strong team, you must understand their job, and you can come back and work with them, you know, their character and all that. And if it really works well, I tell you, you can do a superb job, the one that you can imagine that you can even achieve to do. Okay, the impossible. So from that research, in Japan to Europe to Abu Dhabi to what else, name it, we did a lot of research in Saudi during Ramadan. Can you imagine? I couldn't imagine that I was being invited to what do you call that, Damam Al-Koba, to meet the Al-Ansari, the top 10 public listed company in Saudi, to have a meeting with them after Taraweh, 10 p.m. at night. And we have to follow through what they do, you know. I mean, we have meetings here only 8 to 5. But in Saudi, they say we only have the meeting after Taraweh at 10, 11, almost midnight. And I said, okay, just follow through. And Alhamdulillah, they were impressed, you know. I mean, I couldn't believe that they would listen to women, you know. I thought it was a male dominant country with male partners or clients, but we made it. Okay, so many more that I can share with you later personally if you want to hear. Okay, so other than that, as speakers, it started off way back from Thailand with Prof Vinay, met Prof Isan, you know, all very nice people, and Prof and also Brother Noor Muhammad, who I've never met before for the last 3-4 years, is all online, and this is a superb way of communication. So the other character that I think we should have in ourselves in order to I would say flourish is to make friends, okay, no matter what. Okay, and you have good instincts about people, yeah. And I conduct training and workshop to both, including Philippines, on the halal. They wanted to know about halal, what do you call that, business, including to Korean, Daegu, Christian University. Okay, you never think of that, you know. They approach us and ask us whether we can conduct it to their faculty members. And you know, it's a Christian university, which I find like, wow, you know. But Korea at that time was really getting to know more about halal. And I guess it was something that the government really encouraged, and we said, why not? And okay, the other part for those academicians, I would like you all to be you know, get students, but committed ones. Yeah, you have to be a committed supervisor as well as external examiner, whereby from the students, actually you learn a lot from them. They are the one who masters their postgraduate I would say topics, but we are the one who guide them to make it a good thesis. Okay, and other than that, that the last that I would like to share for with all of you, a bit of my background is I conducted conferences on halal sometimes twice a year, and apart from that, it started way back in 2011 after the 2010 project. Then 2011, I've decided to understand how many halal expertise are there in Malaysia, and I was really surprised at that time in 2011. It was still new in Malaysia, yeah, to do on halal business and science. But it was a great turnout then, and ever since that I decided to continue with the projects of conferences. Okay, I try to be fast after this. Now, a bit of the SWOT that in halal, what I have gone through, yeah. So the strength that any one of you would like to be involved, especially in my area of business management, is to learn into new areas. So I started from food, and then I was offered to do a fashion conference, you know, a JV. And then we went into cosmetic, pharmaceutical, small SME, small medium enterprise, halal firms, okay? And then we did on supply chain. And now I am involved in digitalization, tracking studies. And the other thing, I guess, you must have an excitement in your personality in order to be ahead, okay? Or to learn about new things. And you must be willing to explore. Even the thing is rare, is alien, you must be willing to find out, you know. Don't be scared about new things that you may not even know from the very beginning. And I started writing a book in 2013 on halal food marketing. Remember when I mentioned to you, I did on the research in Europe and Middle East and Malaysia. After that, I decided to write a book that covers all the continents from America to Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australasia. Okay, and understood the market pretty well. So it is online. I forgot to download it over here. It is online. If it is FOC, actually it was meant for sale, but my library mistakenly uploaded. Okay, and I decided not to take it down. And I think there's so many followers there, thousands already. Although it's a little bit outdated, but the facts remains the same. Okay, so please, if you feel like going through it, please do. It helps you to decide which country to do the marketing and how to go handle 4 Ps in the marketing concept. Okay, so the conferences that I used to do before COVID was with Narrated and OIC sponsorship, and they were really great partners, I tell you. We even had you know, free hotels for our speakers, as well as they will be invited by BMW cars from KLIA. So now we can continue. So hopefully when things are back to normal, we can continue with such a conference again. So remember to be sincere in your friendship with whoever you meet, whether local or from overseas, okay? And if you're an academician, please, you know, all your students, regard them as your friend. You know, they are your best friend, I tell you. You learn a lot from them. And especially they get very excited when they can graduate on time. 3 years, that's really an achievement. And my students got motivated because one of them really got an award, you know, for being the best student and finishing his PhD on time. And he did on cosmetic and personal care. So my weaknesses, which I would say, which is also an opportunity, is never say no. Okay, whether you're appointed as a dean, director, or professional, in a professional body, just accept it. Okay, if you can't stay there long, at least for 1 term, you realize that you can hold the position and contribute something. The opportunities in halal, I would say, is ample, because both local and abroad as research partners, paper publications is huge, really broad. I'm having research partners right now being invited for 1 country up north and 1 country south. I just got it yesterday, but the one from the north is, both are on digitalization. The one from the north is actually with the government, G2G, okay, government to government. That was about a month ago. And as I said, even though I've started quite early in 2010, there are not many women in the halal research and business management. There are a lot more in the scientific aspects, okay, labs and all that. But in the business management, Alina can testify that she's familiar with me, and also Sister Maryam. I would say we need more women in the research of business and management. So the threats that I worry actually is for my country, okay, not being a leader, okay, and probably as a researcher that I'll be outdated in information. So in conclusion, all right, I would suggest that the research and findings in the current needs is really important, right? And as I've mentioned to you, digitalization, tracing, tracking, you know, for example, like our COVID right now, traceability is important, where we go, who gets the positive or negative effect of COVID. It's about the same thing that we need to do that for our halal business, okay? Just remember the cartel meat industry recently, that was the issue and the problem on traceability. Where did it go wrong? You know, we need to identify that location. And the other aspect that is IR4, yeah, but the future one would be for IR5 on the society well-being. Whatever we do, both as a marketer, you know, my background, and also as a Umah and also as halal researcher, we need to do it for the society. So it is more on humanization. Now, sorry about that, there's a typo error. It should be 5.0, yeah? So IR4 and IR 5.0. And of late, media recreation is also coming up very fast, okay? Superseded the tourism industry. And also tourism after pandemic for digital future is the new way of life, okay, for those who love traveling. And pharmaceutical becomes so very important because at this current COVID times, we need all the halal pharmaceutical in order for us to consume something that is very important to us, yeah, daily for health. Okay, I need to share a few slides, okay, for you to view what I meant by my conclusion. This is what we have for, Malaysia, the halal economy by 2030, about US 3 point, let me move my slides here for a while. Okay, about, yeah, 3.1 trillion, and all these effects due to the post-COVID, okay. Other than that, I've already mentioned to you about traveling. In fact, I think it was with Brother Noor Muhammad also that I presented the first online, what do you call that, halal conference on modest COVID Islamic fashion, okay. And what you see right now is that people are dressing modestly in order to be prepared for, you know, against COVID, just like PPE, dressing. So the rest of it are there, but as I mentioned to you, media and recreation is very important, not only for the halal news, but also for the children, you know, that requires education as well as entertainment. Yeah. Now, these are the things that we need to be focused, all right? Because we could see all our non-OIC destinations are coming up, you know, prior to the COVID, but they would also stay ahead. If you listen to what Sister Amanda, if I'm not mistaken, from Singapore yesterday, they work hard, you know, in order to be at par with the OIC destinations. And for 2026, this was the anticipation then. But don't be surprised that it will come back again, because via digitalization or digital technologies, it will accelerate growth, okay? So if they can't go far, at least they can travel nearby. Just like what Sister Anis has shown us, beautiful places that attracts Maryam you know, wanting to come as soon as possible if she can. And other than that, these are some of the Islamic economic drivers. Okay, in 2021, this is the data in 2021. Look at the competition coming out from the various countries, and a lot more research is needed here. These are the LR that I can manage to share with you. And look at all the studies that has been done. We need more of this, you know, for the young upcoming halal researchers to explore. And this is the digitalization that you need to highlight, yeah, to, I would say, to focus, including Sister Anis just now, because digital commerce is so important. You need business models, data in order to support the growth, you know, to be prepared for the next era. And as I mentioned to you, I'm from the marketing background. I cannot run away from the 4 P's, you know. When you want to make your business work, get this 4 P's in hand and make sure that you play around with these strategies in order to be profitable and yet rewarding and halal service granted. Okay, these are some of the spending from each region prior to the COVID, but these were the focus then, MENA and GCC countries. Where are they targeting for them to explore in the business of traveling? And this is the one that I mentioned to you just now, where I'm involved with the IQS. If any of you would like to have free training, do let me know. I can bring my team to get your places rated, okay, prelim, so that you have an idea where you stand and can improve. Okay, and these are some of the awards that we have given, including a few countries in Indonesia, Al Jawara in Dubai, Thailand, the ones that we have been, Brother Isan, which is the hotels that we stayed. I forgot what is the name of that hotel, yeah. And a few of other countries that I can mention to you if you contact me later on. And my last slide, in conclusion, the economic and social innovation would be deepening into the society of 5.0, because the society are going to a super smart society. So everybody with apps and handphones and social medias, we have to be ahead, you know, with preparation for them in terms of providing the information. That's the way to go from the 21st century. So with that, I would like to thank everyone. Terima kasih, thank you, and wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And if you have any questions, please, all welcome to forward. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Masya Allah, Prof. Farida. I never expected that you will provide an extensive data of not only about the present, but also about the future and what looks ahead after post-COVID for halal business, revival of livelihood, halal opportunities, as well as to improve on our sustainable developmental goals, digital health, well-being, and so on. Okay, so now I would like to open the session for Q&A from fellows of the audience. Now that for the first 2 presenters, Amal and me had asked the 2 previous speakers, perhaps now we would like to share the opportunities among the audience to ask questions, so that there is always take home knowledge for everybody. Any questions?
You 1989, Sister Amal. Wow. I was yeah, 19, yep. I don't know why I asked you that question. I was a dean in the year 88. My God. Okay. You're very young, Mama. No questions. Alhamdulillah.
Wait,
yes,
hold
the
on,
book that
Prof. I won't let you go because we can see that from the first presenter, Prof. Maryam, she had talked about the very basics. That means the adab and the tradition of Sunnah Rasulullah alaihi wasallam. And now that we are trying to translate it and package it to have a halal logo certification, but if we were to lose side of the adab of the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we may dilute or steer away from what halal is truly about. Because let's say, I think Amal did ask, what about celiac disease as well as nutrition, how it affects perhaps, let's say if we were to go deeper, if we adapt the tradition of the normal sunnah of fasting or normal delivery or normal breastfeeding, maybe there will be less allergic incidents among the population. So these are the sunnah things. Okay, so Prof. Farida, I think what are the ways that we should be creating succession plans? Because let's see, you are the dean when Amal has just been born in 1989, and I'm actually, I think, just 19 years old. So we have 3 layers of generation here. So how do we make sure that the knowledge gets passed on and it gets better?
You're asking me, right, Alina?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. Simple. Very simple. I'm just very lucky to have so many MBA students, still currently have, as well as PhD students. And they're young, especially my MBA students. And they are, I guess when I first taught them, they are just interested to finish their studies, okay? But my, I guess as I would use the word teacher, yeah? As a teacher, I would like to teach. And I would like to leave something for them. So what I did was, from the very beginning, the first day of my class is just to give them that kind of motivation to make them pursue further their studies. And they were like, oh my God, I'm just about to quit or just want to finish this program and you are asking us to continue. But I started kind of, give them halal quiz. And most of them, I guarantee you, Alina, more than 50%, sometimes 70, 80%, Muslim students fail in a halal quiz. Okay? And the question is simple. I just asked them to draw a Malaysia halal logo. and I said, look, this is a halal quiz, so it must be halal, no cheating, no Googling, and I give them 10 seconds, and I need 10 items in the halal logo. They fail, Alina. They just draw a circle and they do not know what to draw next, and they just, kill in. And I told them, and I said, that shows that they have not been, buying products that they should be aware of with halal logo. And I said, and you want to stop your studying here where there's so much more that you need to learn. And from there, I started giving assignments to them. And that's how they open up. And my assignments normally, Alina, is a global assignment. I do not give a local assignment. I do. In fact, I have some individual, some group, but a global assignment is needed so that they understand what's going on out there in the world. And when I told them, go and check your noodles, the tin noodles. Do you know that the noodles are mostly from Thailand? Then only they started buying, and then they report to me under the WhatsApp. Oh yes, we just realized. And the McDonald's apple pie, I said, do you know that it's from Italy? They've been eating for ages and they didn't realize, So and at the end of this semester, I could see that I have transformed them. Okay, I transformed them because I made them worry, and I said to them, if you want to do your PhD, you better do it now, you know, because you will lose your momentum when you graduate. And I said, and when, you know, because when you do your PhD, one person will be talking, you know, apple, another one will be talking about, what do you call that? Oranges, you know, but you tend to understand each other because you are doing the same, you are in the same problem, but different issues on halal. So I think by that, I managed to produce a lot, Alina, a lot of researchers. It doesn't matter whether they graduate their PhD or not, but they have already embarked themselves because I wanted them to be a researcher more than to get a PhD actually, because but I did teach them, you know, within that short frame of time, how, you know, all the shortcuts in how to, they say PhD made simple. And they were like, wow, you know, like I said, yeah, you can do this because you're doing it in a group. Now the next step is to do it alone. That's slightly different. So because that's the relationship between you and God, and how much God will help you and you help yourself. So by doing such, Alina, they and I get, you know, the last conclusion just now that I gave, there's a lot of topics there. I mean, to me, it's the whole halal lifestyle. And I did not allow them to do a same topic. They have to be different. It doesn't matter whether it's so easy or difficult. One typical topic is sunnah way of doing business, sunnah way of like food, like Sister Maryam is doing. And then and from there they went like, wow, we never knew this, you know. And then they started asking me, because some of them are entrepreneurs, Alina, and they asked me, am I charging the price right? You know, I mean, by doing so. So I was asking them, okay, you have to ask yourself, you know, how much was your profit margin? How much did Rasulullah practice? And you know, and I told them, you know, like for example, the sunnah way of doing business, you have to move places, you know, to avoid the ain. Rasulullah goes how many times in a year? And they were like, oh, now we understand why our business got into trouble. I said, okay, you got the idea. So I'm here just as a teacher. I guess if I were to practice, Alina, I will also be into trouble like them, you know. But I guess I'm one person who loves to learn, and I'm still learning, and I would want to do it for free if I can, you know, so when I have the time. So I guess that's some of the things that how to make them continue, the young ones. I always give them, hey, this is a shortcut in life, you know. Do research, learn. You cannot be learning from the textbook. You must learn from Mr. Google. There's a lot, you know, in Mr. Google. I love Mr. Google, you know, because it's an is eye opener, mind, you know, opener and all that. And that's how you become interested in research. I think I better stop there, Lina. I can go on bragging. I hope I did answer some of the questions.
I don't think, Prof, you are bragging, but actually, as I noted of yesterday's speakers also, it is normal for us ladies that usually leaders are men. So when we are being given the authority or responsibility to be leading, we are usually scared. So just saying bragging is actually a self affirmation to give ourselves more self-confidence that we can be equal or even better to do the task, I think. So that's the belief. And I think here is another question from the audience, Miss Mona Kasim. She asks you, I wish to practice Islamic entrepreneurship and sunnah way of doing business. Are there any free online classes? What are the comments that you mentioned just now regarding from moving away from the ain? Can you elaborate?
Right. I'm sure some of you have heard this. Okay, I just share a little bit, yeah, so that Mona, right? Mona from Brunei, is it? Let me see. Yeah, Mona. Yes. I also learned this from my students, Yamuna, but I can't remember which batch, a long time ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, any of the sisters and brothers, because I'm still learning, as I mentioned to you. Now, Rasulullah, in 1 year, I think he travels every month to one place. And he sells or carry along with him the dried items, especially if it is inland. But when he travels to the borders, okay, like for example to Oman, to the areas near the Oman Sea, right? He would go for the wet items. I say wet items would be like perfume or something that is slightly perishable. Maybe I can't remember. But perfume is one of it. Maybe attar, yeah, and all that. Now, when he brings it back to the inland, okay, to the inside of the Arab lands, so he carries on with the dry items. Now, maybe those times during Rasulullah, because it is like 1 month, one place, okay, the traveling is quite long. So you may be prosperous, okay, at one place, and then everybody moves, so you are safe because everybody migrate, you know, and do their business. Now, like pasar malam, in Brunei Tamu, yeah, or in the Western countries, flea market, right? Whatever you call wet market, whatever market you call it. If you happen to stay at one place, your competitors will be eyeing on you, right? Because you flourish. People wonder, how did you become better than others? Now, to avoid that, the best is move places. Okay, I do know those, because I am one person who's, I forgot to add one more character that I have in that SWOT analysis. I'm a busybody. A busybody. I love to chat with the vendors and this and that. And they will tell me, okay, tomorrow I'll be at this place, tomorrow I'll be at that place, because I like their items of food. And then it did cross my mind how Sunnah did it. And I said, wow, this is what I learned, you know, in Halal, the Sunnah way. And they are really good. They prosper. And I think some of you have heard about, you know, people who got into trouble in their business because they're at one place, station, and then they used to be so good, and then suddenly they falter. I do not like to believe this, but part of it may be ain, because it's not, sometimes got nothing to do with the business. Even people, you know, when you over promote yourself, there's tendency to be the evil's eye do not like you, so then you get trouble. Okay, so we like to avoid that, okay, because we want to live in harmony, do good business, rezeki, you can zakat, you know, and all that. So I would say Rasulullah in fact asked us to be tactful in what we do, although we have all the teachings, okay, the surah and all that to practice, but deep in us we have to be cautious in what we do, right? Don't have to make other people not even without intentions, not to make other people how do I say it? Yeah, slighted for whatever reason you can't even imagine. Sometimes you don't have problem with people, but people have problem with you. So what do you do with it? So these are just a little bit that I wanted to what do you call that, share with you. Just one bit. Any free classes? Not yet. I am really very busy. It's just that that's just one part that we learn in my class. Yes, brother, no, busybody or sensitive, empathy, mindfulness, better listener. Oh yeah, yes, all in. And thank you for clarification on moving. Yep. Yes. Yes, I think I've answered that. Busybody is a Malaysian term, brother Noor. Actually, I'm one person who loves to go and have pep talks with people. I guess I'm a people person, so that's why. And when I do that, I learn from people. It's those people who are really having a hard time in life, and I like to pretend like I'm a nobody when I meet one VIP, because I just want to see how that person reacts, and interpret. I love to study about people, actually. So this is what I am. Thank you.
So thank you, Prof. Farida, because you have shared with us very practical tips on how to deal with people, Muslims and non-Muslims alike. And I hope that your ideas, your experience, as well as the two earlier speakers today can be combined with yesterday's speakers, so that we can sort out something tangible and workable, thanks to Brother Noor's Halal Zone trade platform online, which will set the ball rolling for halal. And I see that we have picked up very good keywords like social enterprise, wakaf. I think that is workable if all of us commit to the hearts and are sincere and can volunteer as well as communicate after this. That means it's not just a one-off event, but it is a continuation of friendship and caring for each other. Okay, thank you again, Prof. Farida. And now, because time is running out, I think can we actually have a group photo, and everybody will switch on their camera while Sister Amal and Brother Noor can click on the picture. Please, everybody.
The presentation so we can make the group picture.
Hey, Mona.
To stop sharing the Farida's presentation.
Yeah. I will do that. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, got that.
Okay, we are ready, or someone also want to open the camera? Okay, well, 1, 2, 3, smile. Let me check. Okay, it's really good picture.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, Sister Melody Amal, thank you for snapping the group picture for us. And so for today, we call it an end for the day 2 session. And for everybody, don't be sad that we are rolling down the curtains for today, because tomorrow, at the same time of Mecca time of 1 p.m. GMT 3 plus, or Malaysian 6 p.m. at GMT 8 plus, we will begin our third session of Halal Online Women Speakers presentation. Look forward to meet you there. And we close the majlis with Tasbih Kifara and Surah Wal Asri and the recital of Al-Fatihah. So with the sadaqah given to the Prophet Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and also his families, as well as all the ulama, anbiya and so on, Wa sallallahu wasallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Good night, good day, good whatever day to all over the world, to our fellow Muslims. See you again tomorrow. Bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam
wabarakatuh.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.